I did get a bunch of stuff done on the build. Most of the back of this Jeep is done. So yesterday I finished bulkheads and the sides, got them all welded up, car of the night. And then today I worked on grinding them down. And then also on this side, on that side, it's a bit too tall on the side, so I trimmed that down so it's equal. Grind these down so it's nice and pretty. And I worked on the inner fenders next. These are 2 3/8 wide with a 3/16 stick out. So I have my two fenders that welded on too. Nice beads here, nice beads here. I mean, it's not the prettiest, but it's small gauge. So that's small enough, fine. I didn't want to do too many boogers of welds, just enough so it holds. And I'm gonna have a rack in here, not really gonna see them with paint, so just enough so it's strong. Sure, just under fenders, they're not gonna take abuse like the sides. And then that's all good. No tailgate on this build. Bulkhead's good. And then the windshield was next. I cut this out yesterday, and I put a chamfer on the base so it sits the way I want it on an angle. There's no accurate angle, 10 degrees, I don't know. Whatever looks best. That looks good to me. So I'm good with that. Welding, again, not the prettiest, but this is gonna take a lot of abuse off-road, so I want it strong. You're not gonna see it, so it's okay with me. And now it's flexed out on a pop can plus measuring, so it's got plenty of flex. And with that flex, it shows the clearancing. That's pretty darn good. That's maxed out flex and pretty good. When I flex on the other side, it does rub up a bit on that side. I still gotta do some grinding and trimming to be expected. So not bad. But the weight is heavy. Don't expect lightness for some steel body. That's how it's sitting. It's pretty tail heavy. What do you expect? So much metal on the back to everything on the front's done, but that's up max, drops down. Limit straps, limit out right there, and then drop down to right next. Nothing. Down here, you can see you got a little bit more throw to go. That's where it sits by itself, so it's not to its max. I can always stiffen the adjustment, but also raise it higher and higher, so I can knock that bolt down 2 notches down to gain some more height. So actually I'm at its, I don't know, like a stock tune, not crazy stiff. The front though, it's the same setup as the rear, as for the stiffener and the bolt hole. So, and this is pretty much sitting pretty good. The limits on the front don't really work, so don't expect those. But in case it broke off, sheared arm rollover, it's just a safety clip. In case a shock broke, you're not having a full-on loose axle. But I'll probably remove it, put it up higher. Anyway, I got some ribbon, but big 40-inch tires, yeah. Other side, the slider needs to be flipped. It's fine. I designed the body so I get the most clearance I can get. It's actually going past the inner fender, but it's okay. Try to get the most I can. Made it thin as possible up here. So there's the rock light, and then there's the outside inner fender. To get welded up on top. Come across and then loop around. Still gotta trim this a bit more too. I should know. So you go past and just past this. So curve and then flat piece. And the grill goes on next. The grill, I'm still using the cutting wheel. It's on the bench over there. Cutting out each slice. And I'm gonna have some overcuts, that's fine. I use that as the backside. As for the headlights on this, I do have actual all white module for this build. So turn signals and headlights, they're all 5mm standard. So it's a bit too big, So 3D print a bezel, so it gives a nice headlight bezel for chrome, but so chrome on this, it's gonna be green or black, probably black. And then bezel, the little tiny light, and taper it to a cone so it has more of a shine. That's about all I could do. So there's that. As for the hood, I have my cardboard piece. It's pretty boxy. It's pretty much gonna follow it, but then the vertical down is more of a curve, and then the flat fenders here. So I'm only worried about the hood. So pretty much inner fenders to go inwards more, so metal all the way across to the front, and that way if I'm off, it's okay. You won't see a gap. So there's that. Still gotta draw a hinge, 2 hinges on there. Probably could do upside down. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Let's probably do some holes, rivets, and the hood will shut. Hood's like a Jeepster style. That's actually the opposite, but should be flush. That's about it for the build. So, grill, hood, and then I have to do the floor so I can hide the electronics, keep more water and mud all the way, and snow. And I do want to have the spur gear cover exposed, but everything else like hidden floor wise. And then the seats are about here. You usually have buckets. I might do buckets or a full bench. 3D printing or not, I'm not sure. At least just put a floor down, minimum, with a hole for that. So there's that to do. And then I have almost 3 switches to put on this thing. So I have my rock light switches, I have my ESC switch on off, and I have another switch. ESC, I usually just solder that up, so it's just one less switch to have. So all my lights, just like in real life, I'm thinking about putting a light module here, switch, just for your lights, so it's functional in here, protected. And then I'm gonna do a half cab. I'm gonna 3D print it and then mold it, make it out of metal. So it's snowing outside. There's no really any trail riding all summer, all winter. So take my time on it. And then for dents I've already hit it with a hammer by accident too many times on the side. Put a nice dent to it, just hammer it back. So it's enough gauge to where I can make a dent easily. Should probably weld that too. I mean, inner fender's welded to this. This is welded to the side, so the side's not even attached to the flare, which is probably a good thing. You put pressure here instead of your side. But for skilled dents, like I said, hit it so hard. Yeah, I should put some tacks. And then I was a bit too short on my cutting, but you're not gonna see it, so it's okay. But it's getting there, almost done. Probably should put out a scale. It's just under 20 for sure. It's more than 10. I know it's about 12 plus pounds at least. So about 15, 20 pounds. Looking at scale weight, this is a 10 scale build. Real life, these Jeeps are 2,300 pounds. So I'm not sure about math, but I think 230 pounds is 1/10 of the weight. Or maybe 23 pounds, maybe even that. But even that 23 pounds or 230 pounds, it's below that. So in scale form, I'm on accuracy or even below accuracy. So from that point, I'm good. For the scale motor in this thing, it's actually probably way too fast to be scale speed. But I have the pinion and the spur gear maxed out with the torque because I run 4-cell sometimes. So on 4-cell, yeah, a lot of power, but there's no torque, so I put it to max torque. So on 4-cell, it's really a 3-cell. So I have all the power and torque, but it really goes that 3-cell speed. So, but running 4-cell, you can't run lights. So I'm probably gonna change to 1 gear, so I have some more speed. But anyway, there's that. just like in real life, I wanted to do this Jeep build when I had my 1947 Jeep. Sold the chassis, sold the motor, made about 4 or 5 grand total, and just on those parts. So I still had my body left with the title. So I sold body and title for 2 grand as well later on, but I was like, let's keep the body. Let's find some different axles. I have an extra chassis laying around. It's all boxed in. So I got a Dana 60 high pinion front and a 10.5 Sterling for $200 with power steering, with all the tie rods and lead springs for $200. So I got those. I got the chassis for $300. Some trades I did. So I have a chassis, I have a body still, I have my axles. All right, I got all the big components. Let's do a Jeep build. This is what I wanted to do. So I want to do like 1 tons on 37s, 40s, probably just 37s. On 15, 16 wheels I have there are 8 lugs, aluminum. Not the prettiest wheel, but I'm on a budget. And then chassis, CG5 chassis, I want to stretch it. But also, being these axles, tires will stick out like this, crazy wide. But being in PA, yeah, it's an antique, but it can't have stick out this much. So the bar would have to be cut in half and widened a whole foot. I believe I wanted to do it 1 whole foot in width, widened so it's over the tire. Have about 2-inch stick out. So grab rocks and burn mud flaps just to make it legal. So I want to do that with the build. And the back body just simply behind here, stretch it so you get more leg room for being 6 foot tall. But also I want to do a rear bed extension back here. So I want this to be a scale, well, real life, 6 foot bed. I will need about 4 to 5 feet for what I want to be doing up here with a rooftop tent, by all your storage and gear. And sometimes you don't want to haul a rooftop tent to the trail and thrash and hit the tree with the tent. So I want it long enough to sleep inside for a quick 1-nighter, but if it's a full-on weekend or a 2-week trip, rooftop tent with a rack. So basically this whole RC build's basing off of what I want to do in real life. Soon, when I get more money. Reason why I didn't do that build, yeah, the body, I have the axles, but it's the recession, didn't have a full-time job. I need money. So I sold those Jeeps off and I kept the axles. I paid $200, so I'm keeping those. The chassis is actually pending on sale right now. Got coming Monday for them. Just because realizing running big tires, big axles, that frame, yeah, it's boxed in 3/16 all. It's still not strong enough. And also being so skinny, I don't have room for a frame fuel tank. I don't have room for onboard air. I don't have room for a water tank. It's like I'm more of an overlander than a rock crawler. So I need a lot of frame space. Like keep the back bed and here cockpit for gear. Then you have onboard air, and then you have water, and then you have fuel in the back. So that frame would not work. So just sell it and start fresh. And by doing an RC model, it gives me a nice realistic ahead of myself, just like this model had cardboard as a template to work with. Think for over a week on this and then go to metal. So it's kind of what I do in the build. And the reason why I'm doing like this style back fender and classic 2A in the front, split windshield, so it's a nice vintage 1940s look. Then you have more of the mutt style from the 70s, from the Ford Mutts, where we're wider space. So I don't know, it's a whole mix. But I think when I sold the body, I was like, well, if I'm still doing the build right now, what am I gonna do? So I was gonna find a Jeep Willys pickup 2-door. I just get a cab, and the back bed cost me out. These classic beds, but I don't want step side. I want full width, so I want it work. And I want a 2A front with a flat grill. Most Willys pickup trucks has that like slanted opposite of this. It's slanted. Like I want a flat grill. It's like a 2-year production. They make flat grills, and the fenders are fine, but they're still a bit curvy, and it's not what I want. So I really want to start with a 2A front, 2A, M38, that stuff up front. The cab of a Willys pickup, so you have doors and top. But I want to modify the top to have freedom tops like your JL would have. So it's convertible and the cap comes off. They have a 6-foot bed for stuff. So, and then sold everything off. Now I got a new job, making money. Now mom says, don't do the build at all. Just go buy yourself a nice new Gladiator JT Rubicon. Like, it is more reliable. It's only a year old. It's about $50,000, $60,000 to find me spec'd out all white Rubicon. So still gonna buy that, but in the background, on side job, side hobby, build a real life one. So that's the build, basing it off of my real life inspiration. Yeah, I'm gonna have a tailgate in real life, but for this, I don't need a tailgate. And then the back bumper would be more underneath, which I still can do on this, but then it's gonna interfere with the bolt holes that bolt it down. But it's okay, I machined that too. So, and then okay, in real life too as well. If money's not a problem, which is right now, it's kind of not at this point. I mean, it's still $2,000 net worth, but 2 years working, I probably have enough. But for the build, I was gonna do a 3-link, 4-link in the front on full size, and then run the leaf springs rear. I'm always a leaf spring guy. I know it's a Rough Rider. That's what we are for being flat fenders, but leaf springs rear, 4-link front for suspension, and then obviously king shots. So that's why. Anyway, that's about it for the build and chatter. So thanks for watching.